Ebusuafo ne tiefo ni die kwan so me pacho me ma obi bia akwaba hanum daily update TV. Ebusuam me pacho andi Appiah Kubi an MPP MP. Na NPP MP me minim say wo kai no pa. MP ya wodi NPP MP senim ma mo ba bontin be ye press conference kan say mo pese Nanado Dankwa Akufo-Addo His Excellency Epame the finance minister then Kenoforiata every horn because ye incompetent. That is Kenoforiata ye incompetent. Now me pacho we Appiah bontin asabe can be. Yes, he lost the election. NPP tried everything to make sure Senanko be lose with the primaries, but God was so good to him, say he won the primaries. But the final election idie olusi kakra na we Appiah bontin the insembi abetuja. Ye be zoomi straight na yakutie insema opie be kan ye me pacho video ayede bremu and as a news ayede bremu credit to TV3 Ghana nyakopo insha mo no insha omo workers ni nyina me pacho me das bebre kame ho na yenko tie insema andi Appiah Kubi pie be kan fa NPP ho me das and I said nanado na aban we ho regarding to state lands and nkofo asesa any so far make us solutions and I say propositions be on so o make it nyakopo insha no workers me das bebre.
Public policy, let's look at state lands, how they were acquired, how they have been managed. Indeed, I was very instrumental in the enactment of the New Lands Act 2020. And in that, I was pushing for the vesting of vested lands. We had situations where people's land had been vested in the state, and they were not being given any revenue at all. And these lands had been given to other investors. State officers had pocketed those monies, and the landowners were not getting anything. So I championed a statement that resulted in the creation of a committee to look at that. Then we have now created Section 270 of the New Lands Act that says government must divest. And the law says that within 6 months, Lands Commission must start the divesting. And it has not happened. I was part of the divesting committee. We finished our work, we submitted our report, yet we have not had an executive instrument divesting those lands to their owners. And that's most unfair. The people have the lands. And you know, there was a trust system that was created. It's not that the government acquired the lands. No. The government held those lands in trust for the owners.
Right.
And yet they are not getting anything. They are not also getting their lands, and they are poor.
Okay.
So
even in your home city of Kumasi, or even though you are not from Kumasi directly, they said Denyame.
Yes.
Denyame.
Yes.
Apparently, they've gone to Kumasi. To all government lands have been raised down, high structures and have been put in place. So they say the incoming administration.
Yeah, the incoming administration will have to look at it. But indeed, we have finished the work on divesting and have submitted our report, except that there had not been the executive instrument to formalize it. But in all cases, don't look at even Kumasi alone. All
across
Ghana,
the country.
even in the north.
Yeah.
There are some.
Basintali was fighting with Chinia, with Walands.
Yes. Region,
and mostly in Greater Accra.
Yeah. Greater
And Eastern region, Odumase, Krobo area. Lands vested in the state. The people have not gotten money. They go to court. They are frustrated. And the state keep the money. Where Gassem mines the limestone, those areas. So we must have, as a policy of the state, to do fairness to landowners.
At Otepolo.
I don't know the names, but I know the area. You see, so
do you think a committee should be formed by
there must be a committee formed
or a commission?
A committee. In the next few days, I know
we'll have some direction.
And in some cases, even the Spirit area, Akosombo area, the history there is that there was supposed to be a development of a reservoir, which will house the overflow, for it to be repumped into this. The reservoir was not done, money was not retained. You see, all kinds of compensation claims here and there being refused. So we need to look at the land sector again. We need to look at how to protect the interests of Alodia owners of land in Ghana. And we need to also look at public acquired lands. You see, there are two areas of acquired and vested. Those vested are what I have discussed. But the acquired lands, how are we managing them?
Okay.
How are we distributing them? How are we compensating? And the mode of acquisition, some of them were given to government as grants, gratis, peppercorn. Others, compensation, not payable or unpaid. So let's look at where somebody gives you, if you are going to do this to benefit all of us, take my land. You don't do it, you don't use it. Then you start selling those lands to somebody else. Let's go back to the board.
A lot of people have noticed Pantine lands, University of Ghana lands, Michel Camp lands, Denyame lands.
You see, let me go forward. Some of the lands having been acquired legally.
Adenta aviation land.
For purposes, identified purposes. And when you say identified purpose, if you acquire land for agriculture, it has a certain limit in the quantity, the value payable to the landowner. So when you want to turn...
They are not priced like commercial lands.
They are not priced like commercial lands. So when
it is more of compensation than payments.
And again, because of the nature of the land use, the value is small. So when you turn it, change the land use into commercial.
It should be commercial valuation.
Commercial valuation. So the landowners are entitled to either some revenue or some land back. You don't give them, and you just start selling because it's government land. And then people are now acquiring it. There's typical cases they need to take through. And I want to urge...
The typical cases where?
Need to take through. Versus Attorney General.
Need to take through versus
and
Attorney General.
people, I want to encourage them to go for review because that is untenable. Public land having been acquired, they went to court. They were defeated on their prayer because they said that they were turning that place into AU village for presidents who were visiting Ghana for the purpose of the African Union Conference.
But that was under the Kufu administration.
So,
you mean they've turned around to buy them back?
Now, every one of them is in private hands. So what happened to Nita Techu and family? What happened to La people? They don't get anything. You see, we must revisit that. And the Supreme Court, you must have the capacity to accept some of these things and do justice to Ghana.
Okay. Is this your last submission?
This is my last submission.
Okay.
So I thank you very much for the opportunity.
No, don't go yet. The viewers want to know, and this one is coming from Money Need Money. Which businessman bribed the committee? Tried. Did you say try or bribe?
Tried.
It's a try. Which businessman?
You see, it didn't happen.
I don't understand.
It didn't happen.
What didn't happen?
The transfer of
the transaction didn't happen.
The transaction didn't happen. I wanted to prove to him that we were not interested in the money. So when he tried, I called him into the general meeting to come and brief all of us why he thinks that we have to stop what we're doing.
Who is this person?
Wait a minute. Then he came. He gave us all his reasons, and I was then sitting in charge, and I told him that we didn't need your money. We didn't need your money. So take back your money. We cannot be influenced by this money. Take back your money. But the punishment for you is that nobody will help you carry back your money. You will carry it on your head. And
so he brought his boys to come and carry it?
No, we won't allow that. So he had to carry it, and I followed him. Go and put it in your car and go. You understand? So that kind of inducement did not work for us. But trust me, I am not going to sit here and be calling names. I was not the only person there when he came. Everybody there in the meeting knew. The only reason we did not cooperate with the special prosecutor was that the special prosecutor came to Parliament threatening us. Instead of seeing us as his witnesses, he saw us as criminals.
The special prosecutor?
Yes, the agent, the personnel from special prosecutor's office came, and indeed MPs who were there in the meeting who were prepared to corroborate my story by way of information to him, he sacked them. That he was in total control and absolutely in charge, and therefore nobody could sit here. And that is when I told him that I have also a right of silence to exercise, and I do so, and I did so. So having done that, with that kind of explanation to him, that if you are soliciting for information, it is your duty to find a way to call people to provide the information.
Okay.
You don't come to harass and intimidate. And indeed, I wanted to prove to him that you don't play magic in the land of dwarfs.
Yeah, you don't play magic.
Magic in the land of dwarfs.
In the land of dwarfs. Anyway, I have to...
State property. State property should remain state property. And indeed, any politician worth of...
And not just movables, but immovables.
Immovable,
Yes.
everything. Any politician, in fact, every politician should be conscious of the fact that state property is state property. Even if you have opportunity to buy it, it is unconscionable.
You shouldn't do that. You should resist it.
You should do that. You should resist it. It's unconscionable for you if even they are selling state property. Well, as a citizen, you can, but for me, I think that is unconscionable because once you step in there, chances are that you will bring some influence to bear on whoever is making a decision, either to sell it to you or to another person. So to make it easier for the public officer to do his work diligently, if you abstain from contesting to be a party to the transaction, I think it will be better and it will also save your integrity. So I am with, and indeed, in my own private way, I'm also going to be a watchdog because the Constitution enjoins me to continue to protect the state property. It comes under Article 41, is Article 41 F and G. Yeah. I'm enjoined as a citizen, not as a parliamentarian. So where the parliamentarians even lose oversight, I, as a citizen, I will do, particularly...
And also within RTI now.
Yes, in the RTI, and especially in my practice as a property lawyer, because I do property law. So in the properties of the state that go to people unnecessarily and not through the appropriate processes, I will stand to challenge some of those things, particularly in the areas of land, acquisition of public lands and all that kind. If I had my way, I would think that we need to investigate all disbursement of public lands and who are beneficiaries and under what conditions.
But your people have been buying
and for what consideration.
Johnny was talking about a latest one.
That is what I want to investigate privately, because and I'm lawyer to some of the schools in Accra, and I have instructions to go to court to question the acquisitions of some of those things, the unconscionable transfers and all that kind of thing. So I'm already in court on a matter that transcends on how and why state-acquired land has been transferred to private persons, private companies, albeit that they were purposely acquired for a specific purpose. And upon failure of such purposes, lands have been, and change in land use, land has been transferred to not citizens, general citizens, but public servants, politicians. Why that? Upon failure of acquisition, purpose of acquisition, I would have imagined that due consideration will be given to pre-acquisition owners. Or, if not, the kind of compensation payable to those pre-acquisition owners will be done before the change in land use. Because assuming I gave out my land for the state for the purposes of farming, and in the past under public lands ordinance, and you know what happened under public lands ordinance, the intention for the colonialists was to suppress the traditional leaders from acquiring for access to huge sums of money, so that they would not disturb the administration. So that was the hidden purpose. So acquire their lands, make them vulnerable, and let them not stand up to our administration. On those principles, they would acquire land from the traditional authorities and pay them small values, albeit that they will be using those lands for agricultural purposes. And now, so many years thereafter, they will come and say that we are changing the land use into residential, commercial, and that kind of thing. And you will not pay any regard to the pre-acquisition owners, and then you will be selling those. So
do you think the transitional team should take a look at, start asking the question?
They should start asking, and they should form committees to investigate. You see, we must go down to it and see who have been beneficiaries, under what conditions, what processes, what supporting law, and that kind of thing. And I'm saying that changing land use doesn't give you automatic right to just sell it to anybody. And indeed, I would want us to look at the case of Tetechuru, Wallace, Tetechuru. In fact, the decision was that once the land is being used for public interest, or be it that the purpose has failed, it is still in the public interest. But go to Wallace land and see who are the beneficiaries. Let's go there and see.
Not the allodial owners.
Not the allodial owners. Not state institutions. Not public purpose. Private.
I'm told some lands around the Laboni area.
Yes.
Well, we have
it's not private. So what I'm saying is that the intention and the reasoning and the decision in that case is that it could be though that the purpose is defeated, but the use is still for public interest, and therefore we cannot reverse the transaction. But now that the beneficiaries are not public persons or public interest, what should happen to the landowners? Will they go home empty-handed because a state came in and made sure that they covered it with public interest, and now, pursuant to the decision in that case, they have now gone private? And what happens to the pre-acquisition owners? Are they not entitled to anything? Or are they not entitled to the reimbursement of those lands as pre-acquisition owners? So these are some of the issues. Public lands and management and disbursement and transfers, we must have a committee that will investigate that. And indeed, if people have benefited unduly, we have to return those interests to proper beneficiaries. And this is what I will advocate.
Okay.
And if you read the case, incidentally, if you read the case, you read the politics in the case and the law in the case. You will see those who were doing law and those who were doing politics.
I have this very...
quickly, let me add that.
Before you come in.
Now they are moving under the guise of the PPP Act. So you see state interest, state lands that are deliberately given to companies that are owned by politically tainted people.
Yeah, but you can also rely on unconscionability.
Of course. Especially when the prison's headquarters one came to Parliament, we told them nada. We told them.
But there are many of them that don't come to Parliament.
Yes, all right, I agree. Maybe this way we have to compare it.
Let me just get up to speed with some comment here, and this is very instructive. This one is coming from Chairman Eric. He works in the cocoa sector, but at the downstream level, not at where they do the production of the raw materials or the outgrower level, and so they use they add value to it. So a value addition.
And the cocoa sector, they have opposite gradings. In the energy sector, the downstream is the top.
Yes.
In the cocoa sector, the downstream is the down.
The downstream for petroleum is where a lot of activity takes place and is seen by the public. So he says that please get this attention to the transitional team. We have not even gotten 1 metric ton of cocoa graded exported from the Volta region in the last 2 years. And he says what will be done to stop the smuggling of all cocoa that is produced in the Volta region. Chairman, thank you very much. And then he also adds that State Property Sale was given a ruling in the famous Jacob-Ejebe Lamte. I think the citation itself is Jacob-Ejebe Lamte, and then we have that in general, and subsequently
in that case is premised on Tetechuru.
Yes. Yeah.
Abusia me pacho nyankopon hia na onye okese wanyamre no abenya videos ni bi nso wahwe me pacho ye ne nkomo de besia mesro so de comment e be share comment section na me pacho so unsubscribe to a YouTube channel onya videos ni hwe so when je ho kwanda please subscribe to our YouTube channel, like and share our videos more love so nya bi enti nyankopon hia ye nyina na onye okese pacho ye de nkomo de besia. Stay tuned for more updates. Me da se bebre.